I mentioned public funding, but at the end of the day, the bulk of our funding is philanthropic. And so I would encourage your listeners to look at an organization like Father Joe's Villages, who is effective in what it's doing, that helps those not only who are on the streets, but the community at large.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
The San Diego Union Tribune and Retirement Strategies Group present the Union Tribune Community Spotlight Show with your host, Drew Schlossberg.
I'm Drew Schlossberg of the San Diego Union Tribune. We are back with Jaden Risner. He's the CEO and co-founder of Family Proud. It was formed in August of 2018, and the idea is, make connections with those families that may need some resources. The focus is here in San Diego, working with radios and all that business here, but really trying to link in if this family needs help with, pick a topic, there'll be those folks that they have selected that could certainly help them, and if not, then Jaden and his colleagues can help out as well. You talked about the technology. What makes your technology unique?
Yeah, so, Family Proud's technology, there's certainly a lot of wonderful platforms and support out there, and of course, the end of the day is why use another technology or platform? We've got 5 million apps on our phone.
Right.
But really what Family Proud difference is that we're looking to deliver our support with empathy. And we always say that our platform's designed for patients and families, by patients and families. Everyone on our team has a touch point. And back to the truly understanding aspect of what the families are going through is really important to us. And versus just being a transactional connectivity type platform, the ability to actually really understand, when is the right time to provide that support, what type of support is required. And it's a challenging, aspect in terms of every family is different. And so being able to address that with a platform that resonates, really just comes down to delivering support and through our technology with empathy. And so I think that's the biggest thing that stands out as a big differentiator for us.
Right. And so have there been groups that have been with you? I mean, you just launched it a little less than 2 years ago. Are you plan on being with these families forever, or how does that work?
Yeah, so,
as long as the needs there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's certainly, every family has different needs. So some families maybe shorter periods of time. And so other families are, have been dealing with their hardships and adversity for 10 years plus. And so it really just comes down to the families, but, we'll always be there for them.
Right. And so how do you get the families? Do the families, is it word of mouth they find out about you, or because your connections in the military, that they're aware that, hey, this family can, certainly need your support? How do you recruit families, so to speak?
Yeah, so right now, definitely focused in terms of our initial growth, if you will, and just being aware that we're working with a very sensitive and important, truly like the heroes, I would say, of San Diego in terms of the families that are, at the hospitals right now and dealing with their adversities. And so being very diligent of how we go about that's really important. And there's certainly a lot of trust and transparency that goes along with that. Right. How we've been doing that has been organic relationships with local organizations. And so that's how we've been doing it, and which is why we're looking for other organizations that, may be looking for ways to help engage and empower their community.
So which organizations do you work in now that you sort of partner with?
Yeah, so Radies is the primary right now. We do have a couple of other discussions with other support groups.
Right.
But those haven't necessarily been made public. So we
right. Okay. And so, but I mean, obviously, can it be any business that wants to support? Can it be a food delivery service? Could it be clothing?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two sides in terms of the support. There's certainly the organizations that have families that could use this platform and strengthen their community. And perhaps that organization does not have a technology yet that we can come in and help support those families and empower their community. The other aspect are local San Diego businesses that would love the opportunity to support patients and families, whether it's food, transportation, as you mentioned, home care items. And so we also provide that connectivity back to the local organizations.
Right, exactly. And shout out the website one more time, Jaden.
Yep, it's familyproud.com.
Right. And will you eventually, as you grow the business, get into, right now it's focused on, basically, health a lot and resources that families in need, if someone's hospitalized or going through a difficult time. Will you eventually morph into, hey, here's some things that this would benefit the family, being a good mental health always helps, meaning going to doing cool things. Would you work with sporting events? Would you work with teams to say we can offer tickets?
Yeah, so right now we're really focusing on the core support. There's a ton of tremendous ways that we'll be able to expand this.
Right.
But right now we're really trying to focus on what the families need the most important right now.
Right.
So that's food on the table or those critical resources. But as you mentioned, for that longevity, and there's certainly a number of possibilities in terms of partnerships and support that we can offer families.
Yeah, the reason why I bring that up is we work pretty closely with the Jacobs Cushman San Diego Food Bank. Our buddy runs it, Jim Floros, has done a great job continuing to expand, and the amount of need of those folks who go hungry in this community, not just this community, around the country and the world, of course, is pretty astonishing. I think we take it for granted because there's food on our table, but there's not food on
Right.
many, many, many families. Do you work with groups like that?
Not yet, but that's a great example that there's oftentimes it's not a question whether or not people are looking to support. As humans or as
Right.
community members, we're always looking for ways to support, and oftentimes there's not always a good way to facilitate that. So through our technology, we think that we can help out close that bridge in a couple different ways as well.
Right, because I imagine there are also auto shops or mechanics or whatever the case may be. And we know, back in the day when you could probably work on your own car because there weren't electronic engines and all that. Talking like I know what I'm talking about because I know nothing about cars, to be honest with you. But that being said, now it's not a $25 fix. It
Right.
is a $125 fix, as if you know what you're doing. Is that something that you offer right now, or will possibly in the future?
Yeah, no, we'd love to offer those type of services. I mean, you think about even for caretakers or
Right.
families that are going back and forth. There's those out-of-pocket expenses. Once again, additional
Right.
gas, additional maintenance on the cars. Certainly, those are all burdens to families.
Right. I brought up clothing earlier too, because we all know that. And to your point, every dollar counts when you are, strapped and you're up against it. And even the donation of shoes, the Union Tribune has had a shoe fund for close to 85 years, providing shoes that started during the Depression in 1935. But we know that $30 or whatever the amount is that helps get the shoes for the kids. These folks are experts at stretching that dollar, and that $30 pays for food on the table.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Right, which I think. So, what would you want if you were to ask our audience, and think big on this? What can they do to support your efforts immediately, and then in the long term?
Yeah, so I think, thanks for the opportunity. I think immediately, certainly pointing families that, once again, could use Family Proud as a resource.
Right.
But as well as the organizations and community partnerships out there that, love to have the discussion to see how we can help empower their organization.
Right, exactly. How many families do you work with now?
So it's pretty controlled at Rady's.
Right.
So it's only about 40 or so families. So
Well, that's still pretty nice.
Very controlled.
Yeah, right, exactly. And but do you have the capacity if they said, we need you to add 20 more? Do you have that capacity now, or not quite yet?
We do, and so that's kind of goes back to the resource side. But for us, it's once those partnerships are aligned, it allows us to grow with that. So.
Right, exactly. And right now you're focused there, but obviously there's a lot of hospitals and different folks. Eventually, as you mentioned earlier, you're focused on San Diego County right now, right?
Yes.
But you're looking obviously one step at a time here, right? But are you looking to keep it in Southern California for a while, or you got some sites on some other places in the not too distant future?
Yeah. So the next step would be through Southern California, and certainly for us, it just comes down to once again it's relationships and community. So if there's a community that is also supportive, that shows a demand that they're looking for help, we're certainly we'll look at that closely.
Right, Jaden, you were in the Navy. You said here, do you work with naval hospitals at all?
Not currently, but we are looking at
right. Obviously, the big one here in Balboa, and the one up
right.
in Camp Pendleton. And as you look to expand in California, we know we have a pretty hardy military base, whether it be in the Navy or the Marines or Air Force, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, absolutely. So that recently we were actually just picked up for an Air Force innovation contract, so to demonstrate this with Air Force families as well. So
nice.
That'll be one of our next steps.
And where was that?
So that's actually from just the National Air Force Innovation branch, but we'll be looking to support several Air Force facilities in the Southern California area.
No, that's terrific. We got about a minute to go. Again, why don't you shout out that website one more time?
It's familyproud.com.
Right, exactly. And then, tell people that come and give you a call. You'll come out and visit with them. Do you go out and do presentations?
Absolutely.
Right. And you do it to a company-wide or individuals, or it really just depends on what they're looking to do?
Yeah, we're happy to share it with both individuals or companies.
Right. And of course, never hurts. You probably know this better than anybody, that when you have a constituent that has benefited from your services. And we all know there's that privacy issue. Very, very true. A lot of people said, I don't need my name over this thing, and I get it. I want to keep it close to the vest. But that also, with funders, we know how important that is to say, this is great. It's a great idea. Who are the people that you're really touching? And that pulls at the heartstrings. Jaden, thanks so much for coming on. And he is the CEO and co-founder of Family Proud. You can get to his website by familyproud.com, and we'll look forward to chatting with you somewhere down the road.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, Jaden Risner, again, CEO and co-founder of Family Proud. I'm Drew Schlossberg, and you've been listening to another edition of the Community Spotlight Show here on Cloudcast Media Radio, brought to you by Retirement Strategies Group. Retirement means first.
Thank you for listening to a podcast from Cloudcast Media, the digital media home for leading local brands. When it comes to amplifying your brand, a Cloudcast-sponsored show offers unbeatable value. Learn more at cloudcast.us.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.
Welcome to Cloudcast 180, the 3-minute lightning round with changemakers here in San Diego. We're here with Ed Heiner, 20-year Navy SEAL, best-selling author, and education entrepreneur. Ed, welcome to the Cloudcast 180.
Thanks for having me.
Your book was called First Fast Fearless, so let's hit this fast and fearlessly. Real quick, you created a program to help change lives of high school students around the country. It's called SEALpreneurship. Tell our audience what it's all about.
Well, it's about leading yourself. Getting a PhD in me, I teach kids how to take care of themselves and lead themselves first, and how to be their own entrepreneur, intrapreneur, if you will.
Is it something you think public education is lacking, this concept of self-leadership?
Absolutely. It's a mindset that kids don't get. My son doesn't get it in his school. The kids don't get it. It's something that, we're educating them, but to be mentally tough and be able to take charge of themselves and accountable for themselves is very unique.
Okay. I've seen an overview of your curriculum, 23 evolutions, and you have a 23-minute podcast series. So what's up with 23?
Chromosomes, right? It's all in all of us. We're all the same. 99.9% of everybody in this world is the same. And we use those chromosomes, 23 pairs, which was one of the concepts we teach as swim buddies, never be alone. Mm-hmm. Always work with someone else, collaborate, and be out there.
Boy, that's a lesson for life for sure. Ed, you were in charge of basic and advanced training for the U.S. Navy SEALs, and I mentioned you're a 20-year SEAL. Tell our audience the greatest lesson from the SEALs that have changed you forever.
Probably in the back of a helicopter one night in Iraq before I was getting ready to fly into an Al-Qaeda target, it dawned on me that when a pilot said, you have this many souls on board, it dawned on me that the opposite of fear is love. It's not else. I don't fight for what I hate in front of me. I fight for what's beside me and behind me that I love.
Wow, it's a powerful concept. Wow. You've talked a lot about the blue-collar scholar as a concept. Fascinating. Tell our audience, what is the blue-collar scholar as it relates to your SEALpreneurship program?
It's a mental concept where people take control. Don't outsource their life. Look, we're going to have people that are in white coats, suits and ties, doctors, PhDs. That's fine. Listen to that and learn your information from them. But eventually, you got to be that mechanic in your own life. You got to turn the wrench. This is happening. So basically, take control of your own life. Use what you can use from other people. Discard it, what you can't, and make that your own. Leadership is something that you do. It's you do with people, not to them. And one of the best forms of leadership I learned in the back of that helicopter is called MOM.
Ed,
Focus on mission, others, me.
Mission, others, me. Ed, thank you for being here. This has been the Cloudcast 180. We hit it fast and fearlessly. We're out.
Cloudcast 180. Powerful people, powerful stories, 180 seconds.